Polio has returned, spreading in London, Jerusalem and New York for the first time in decades.
Parents lived in fear.
In July, a case of polio in an adult was made public in Rockland County, New York. It marks the nation's first confirmed case in nearly 10 years. Later in August, health officials said the virus was found in New York City's wastewater. So, just how dangerous is the disease?
The war is not yet over.
Polio terrified parents around the world for the first half of the 20th century. Affecting mainly children under 5, polio is often asymptomatic, but can also cause symptoms including fever and vomiting. Around 1 in 200 infections leads to irreversible paralysis, and among those patients, up to 10% die. The disease spreads mainly through contact with fecal matter. There is no cure, but polio is entirely preventable through vaccination. Globally, the wild form of the disease has almost disappeared. Afghanistan and Pakistan are now the only countries where the disease remains endemic. There are 2 main forms of poliovirus: the wild type and rare cases of what is known as vaccine-derived polio. It's the second form that was detected in wastewater in New York, with 1 case of paralysis reported in the state. Rockland County Health Commissioner Patricia Schnabel-Rippert.
This patient did present with weakness and paralysis. I cannot give anything further as far as information on present state or prognosis at this time.
Vaccine-derived polio has also recently been detected in London and Jerusalem. It stems from the use of an oral polio vaccine containing weakened live virus. After vaccination, children shed bits of the virus in their feces for a few weeks. In under-vaccinated communities, this can spread and mutate back to a harmful version of the virus. While countries like Britain and the US no longer use this live vaccine, others do, which allows for global spread, particularly as people begin to travel again after COVID.
Your question about travel outside the country? There's been no travel outside the country. Anyone else?
Experts agree that the major driver behind both vaccine-derived and wild polio outbreaks remains under-vaccinated populations.
Was this person vaccinated with that vaccine somewhere, or is it just it?
No. Marcus, no. The person has been unvaccinated.
Vaccine hesitancy was a growing problem before the pandemic, and then COVID-19 caused the worst disruption to routine immunization in a generation. That's according to the United Nations. In 2020, there were 1,081 vaccine-derived polio cases. That's around 3 times as many as the previous year. In 2022, there have been 177 cases so far, after major efforts to get polio vaccination campaigns back on track. Health experts say the New York City wastewater findings are still a wake-up call for parents, with 1 key message: protect your children by getting them vaccinated.